Okay, we are now live. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Emma Shapiro. I am going to be your alternative career coach and host today for the show. I'm here with the NewGait team, Benga and Jordan, and also some amazing clinicians here. We've got Kim, Kathy, Stephanie, and Martin, all going to share their story on how the NewGait harness has really helped transform their patients' lives. So without further ado, I thought it'd be helpful to quickly recap our last webinar with them, show you a short video of the NewGait harness, just so you can recall what this harness is and its amazing ability to help so many people. And then Benga and Jordan will dive a little bit further into the harness. Welcome, everyone, though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
And everyone say hi. So if you're in the comments, please, give a shout out, give some thumbs up, give some hearts, because this is a really cool device that you're going to be amazed at.
A new rehab device is changing lives in physical therapy and possibly impacting those with debilitating diseases.
They said I was never going to run, and I'm running. The first day they put a NewGait on me, I immediately felt my leg again.
An invention geared towards athletes has inspired a new tool for physical therapy throughout the UP.
TV6's Nicole Buckman has more on the life-changing NewGait device.
Improving therapy outcomes and restoring hope to patients. The NewGait is a patented wearable harness system comprised of shoulder straps, a waist belt, and limb straps, all interconnected by strategically placed elastic bands.
There was a point where I just wanted to stop and give up. The NewGait kind of gave me that hope again.
A patient introduced me to the NewGait. Clicked right away that it would make sense. I've been using it with patients on a regular basis ever since.
We're a team who cares in a way that is maybe unique for this day that we live in. And there's something within me that is really fulfilled by working on this project and watching what it can do.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for watching that quick recap and replay of the NewGait harness and what it can do. You're probably wondering, what is this webinar about? So Benga and Jordan are amazing creators and athletes themselves and healthcare professionals in a way themselves as well. And this harness, it has been a journey for them to create. And so you can listen to this as professionals learning about the creation of maybe your own ideas and how they're going about helping people with this amazing harness. But you can also listen to today's webinar as healthcare professionals that can potentially use this harness to really help your patients further. So Jordan and Benga, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I'm really excited to go over the harness in more detail. So without further ado, take it away.
Thanks, Emma. We're really excited to be on. This is our second time on, and we had a really great time the first time, just kind of getting the NewGait really introduced to your community and your fans. And so we're really excited about that as well.
Yep, thank you for having us. It's a great platform to spread the device that we've made. Been watching some of the other podcast shows that you guys have as well, and you guys do a great job. Thanks for having us.
And I do want to make one correction, though. You had said that we were, or alluded to that we were the sole inventors. And while, we helped create the original concept of the NewGait, we couldn't have done this without our clinical team, with two of them being on right now, Kim and Kathy. And they have really taken it to another level from what we had developed. So just a quick recap, Jordan and I both have a track and field background, and we developed a product originally dubbed the Speed Maker to help athletes run faster. The concept behind that was with resistance training and in particular elastic bands on the front part of the thighs that would provide resistance to the hip extensors, thus strengthening them and allowing an athlete to run faster. Now, if it weren't for our clinical team, Kim, Lynn, and Kathy, really taking that initial prototype, initial speed product to another level in the rehab field and actually taking it from that speed product and incorporating it into a physical therapy environment and and really, as I mentioned, taking it to another level. So, we wouldn't be NewGait if it weren't for our clinical staff. But before, and you guys can see them right there, that's Kim Springer and Kathy. And I know Kim would love to kind of talk a little bit more about the origin story and just how she first got the SpeedMaker and started using it on her initial patient. But before we get into that, we've got a couple of guests on here, and I really want to get to them first. We've got Stephanie, Reed, and Martin. And so Martin is actually one of our NewGait ambassadors. He's one of our independent sales reps. And then Stephanie is a clinician, a PT, retired, who has reached out to us. And she was just very, very interested in the NewGait. And she's actually doing the 30-day trial right now. And both of them have been able to use it from the clinical standpoint and have seen some pretty interesting results. And so we really wanted to bring them on as sort of a non-biased person or people to just tell about their story, and just tell about how the NewGait has either impacted their lives or what they've seen the NewGait be able to do to people close to them. And so I'd like to maybe kick it off with you, Martin, and just, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to get to know about the NewGait and what the NewGait possibly has done in your life.
Sure. So my name is Martin Schneckenberger. I'm a physical therapist. Been a physical therapist for 20 years. And in the summer of 2020, I stumbled across the NewGait, and it literally blew my mind. And so last summer, August 5th, 9th, and 16th, last year, my 7-year-old, now 7-year-old, had 3 brain surgeries. And that was to help control her epilepsy. And so after her surgery, the last one, she was unable to move her right leg and her right arm. And so as a therapist, being at the hospital at UCLA, trying to initiate walking, it was a lot of holding on to different body parts, trying to facilitate things to happen. And it was extremely challenging for not only the therapist at the hospital, but me being her dad and an aide to the therapist. And so when I saw the NewGait, the light bulb went off. I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what my daughter needs. Because my daughter had been using an AFO for drop foot, but the AFO was very uncomfortable, and she kept tearing through the straps because she kept wanting to go at 100 miles an hour, even though her body wasn't ready for that. And so when I reached out to NewGait and to Kim in particular, who helped me set up my daughter, Ava, with the NewGait system, it was an amazing thing to see. Just the control, the ease at which she was walking. I never did any kind of timed up and go, but the quality of her walk at this point is so much better, to the degree now that we've been using it since June. There are many days where she will walk around the house without having to wear it, and you're seeing the carryover. So it has blessed our lives so much that's why I have become an ambassador to help other people learn how to use it.
Thank you, Martin, for sharing that. I wanna say it's so funny that you're using this as an AFO, because that's actually exactly what I have in mind for someone. I haven't gotten the NewGait yet. I'm working on that. Where I work, it's a little bit slower, lengthy process. But I'm thinking the same thing. The patient that I have, he has sort of this. Because of all his hip surgeries, he's externally rotated, and he has weak hip flexor strength. And so I'm wanting it for an AFO. And what I really think is great about the NewGait is that, unlike an AFO, which has to fit in your shoe, it works differently like that. So it's a lot more comfortable, because those hard plastic AFOs, I haven't worn one, but it just doesn't look comfortable. But those don't really make room for someone who maybe has lymphedema, who maybe has swelling that is changing foot circumference all the time. And so with the harness, it is much more amenable to that. So that's exactly
well,
the use
actually,
case
in
I'm going.
addition to that, the cool thing about it is when you wear an AFO, it kind of it allows you to be supported, but it doesn't really elicit change. What we have seen over and over and over again with it, and again, that was a little fluke of us kind of discovering it, but is that people who come in who need an AFO, if we have them wear the NewGait, just as the AFO part of that for, I had my first guy I tried this on was a guy who had spinal surgery, and he had drop foot afterward, and he was like a 28-year-old construction worker and very unhappy with drop foot, very frustrated. So I said, you know what, why don't you just take this? He didn't have an AFO. I said, why don't you just take this thing home for the weekend and just keep using it? And it woke that foot right back up. And so you're not just supporting something, but you're giving it this feedback over and over and over again, and it actually just makes it to the point where so many of these people no longer need an AFO after using this as an AFO device.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, for me as a physical therapist, I sometimes hesitate to give an AFO like right after someone has, say, had a stroke, because I want to see, will that muscle regain function? And so I want to actually use the muscle and challenge the muscle, even if the gait's not as good. And so I actually sort of postpone that. But with the NewGait, I probably could start using that right away because it's more of active assist versus the passive AFO. And so I don't feel like I have to choose one or the other. I can have that assistance and also have that active assisted range of motion.
Exactly.
And I think that's the key, because again, the AFO sometimes ends up being more like a casting system. It kind of leaves you stuck in one plane, one position.
Yeah.
And at least with the NewGait, and I think the big word is facilitation. It literally starts to get the ball rolling for people to get the feeling, for the muscles to get awoken from whatever, like in my daughter's case, the brain surgery. It could be from literally anything, but it is so much more, it's easier to use. Like for her being 7, I mean, we've gone through 2 shoe sizes already because she just keeps growing, and so with the NewGait, all I do is just open the elastic band a little bit. It's not like we would have to drive 40 miles to the orthotist to go get it fixed again. And it was like, this is just a waste of time.
Yeah. On top of it, ruining the shoes, right?
Exactly.
If I might add too, but the beauty of it is well beyond just the dorsiflexion assistance that this can give you. For someone that has also hip weakness or pelvic instability, the whole unit will dramatically change the facilitation of hip flexion. Sometimes too, what's lost is the put toe off moment, where that power comes through from the gastroc. So you can initiate that in a way that rekindles a muscle spindle firing. And it's as if this perpetual motion helps to restimulate the pathways lost, that helps find them again or reestablish new pathways to restore the motion over time. So when you look at the person, look at all the components that you might try on them, because you can really stabilize gait quite dramatically. If you remember back to our clip, we had our woman walking outdoors with a bit of a Trendelenburg gait with just a toe lift. You weren't correcting the bigger picture of the hip instability, but by putting her in a whole unit, her whole stabilization changed. And so that was quite a dramatic improvement in function for that individual.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're exactly right. I mean, as therapists, OT, PhD, whatever type of therapy it is, our goal is to try to look at the body as a whole. And so that's the nice thing is an AFO. And sorry to rag on only the AFO. I didn't mean to go anti-AFO. I love the AFO. It's got its purposes too. But this is just where my patient case use case is. But you're exactly right. The AFO is solely addressing one part of the chain versus the NewGait. We give them that active motion at the ankle, but then also at the knee and also at the hip. Good point. Excellent point, Kathy. Excellent. Sorry, Benga and Jordan. I took it out really.
No. This is all great stuff. All really good stuff.
I'm trying to find I'm on your website really quickly, trying to find the harness in case people want to know, like a little bit in slower motion, what it can look like. But do we want to go to the next person while I get like a good picture of it?
Yeah, you know what? I pulled up a pretty good video as well.
Okay.
I know we've been talking about it, and we showed that one video at first, but if you don't mind, I'd like to maybe just show this quick video so that people could maybe get a better look at it.
Let me see. I actually have never. Let me see if I can give you screen share. 1 second.
I can send you a link to it.
Yeah, if you could send me that link, thank you, Benga. And let's see. While we're waiting for that, perfect. I got it right here. Give me 1 quick second. While we're waiting for this, who was inspired by that conversation? If you're listening right now, or if you're listening on the replay, what questions do you have about the harness? We have this amazing, 5, 6 people on right now to really dive deep into this harness, dive deep into the anatomy, dive deep into the use cases. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat, or if you're being amazed by this cool technology and this cool harness, show some love too. We appreciate love too. Okay.
Perfect. Well, should we get into the next guest that we have?
Or do you want me to share it? I can share it right now if you want to.
Okay, if you're ready, yeah.
Okay. Does anyone see the YouTube video?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, could you drag it to the front, the beginning?
There you go.
There we go. Perfect.
We don't have any sound.
No sound? Okay.
It shows us putting the harness on, helping her with the waist belt. Many individuals, once they're trained in its use, can do the harnessing themselves.
No sound.
Oh, when you share a tab, you gotta click on share audio as well.
I have to do
I
share
learned the
audio
hard
as well.
one last time.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
To get out of this wheelchair, and I want.
There we go. Now I think it'll work.
It's been life changing for me. The first time I ever put this on was 3 weeks ago, and it wasn't 20 minutes. Maybe I had it on. Correct me. And it was like night and day. My body was like, I remember this. This is what it feels like to walk like a normal person. Because I have to think. Without all this and without this training, I literally had to focus on my feet so I didn't fall. And I don't have to do that anymore. It's amazing. That was my goal when I got put in a wheelchair at 25, was I want to get out of this wheelchair and I want to live a normal life so nobody goes, oh, I'm sorry, ever again. And I've done really well by myself, but this just took me to, the goal I had with this was to not fall on stairs or not even be worried about stairs anymore and not fall anymore, period. And I haven't fallen in 3 weeks since you guys originally hooked me up with it. it. I love it. I stopped thinking. Just stop thinking and walk.
Oh, I love that. That's honestly really share some love for the amazing transformation that Rebecca had there. Wow, that's just amazing. And shout out to Kathy, because I know that definitely in addition to this amazing progress was your hard work. So amazing transformation there. Wow.
Actually, Rebecca was involved in a study that we did with Northern Michigan University, and we had 21 MS patients that we took through a 6-week trial. Half of them did the whole protocol with the NewGait, and then the other half did it without the NewGait, so we could see. So just watching that video so makes me laugh because she was bigger than life, you know, always. And it was just a delight to work with all these MS patients and try to see, you know, what kind of change we can make in their quality of life. And even today, I'll go into the grocery store and see people walking around with a NewGait on who had been in the study, which is so, you know, that's why we're all into therapy, right? To improve function and restore livelihood to people. So, yeah, that was so fun, right, Kath? To just look back at that video now, it's probably about 2 years since we worked with Rebecca, and I have no doubt that she is still, after she got the NewGait, she actually moved into an apartment that took 16 steps to climb to get into her apartment. Like, who does that? Except for Rebecca. So she wanted to challenge herself every day so that she had to climb those stairs, so she actually picked an apartment on the 2nd floor.
Wow. Wow. Oh, well, she sounds like an amazing, amazing person just to overcome all of that. And thank you, Kim and Kathy, for all of your hard work with that. And I know that she sounds like a blast too. I want to go hang out with her. It was so cute at the end where she's like, I just go. I don't have to think. I just go. And I think that's the beauty of something like this is if we can give someone something that's simple, that they can use every day, that they're not going to have to think about, and that's going to transform their life, wow, then that's something that like we have to have and we have to use. And so that's just amazing.
I'd like to introduce Stephanie now because I am so enthralled with Stephanie having come into our lives. And I would love for her to share her story of how she discovered this, please.
There you go. Hit it off, Stephanie.
All right. Well, I am a retired physical therapist. I worked for 40 years and never got tired of seeing the patients, but I got very burnt out on the documentation. And my husband strongly encouraged me that my time was done so that he could stand to be with me in the evenings. But I had been reading Meredith's blog on the non-clinical PT just out of interest. And I saw one of her posts where she talked about, possible jobs with the NewGait as far as sales reps, which I had no interest in being selling anything, but I was interested in the device. And when I looked it up, and honestly, what grabbed me was the dorsiflexion component, because you didn't have to wear an AFO inside your shoe, that it was all outside your shoe, so you could be comfortable and wear a shoe that to not have to buy a bigger shoe to fit the AFO in, was very intriguing to me, mostly because I had a sister that had a heart transplant in January of this year, and then 5 days after that, she had a severe brain hemorrhage, which affected her vision and balance and proprioception and strength on the left side. And she was in inpatient rehab after the hospital for like 6 or 7 weeks. And when she left there, she was wearing a fixed AFO with 2 heel lifts to control her Recker bottom of her left knee. And after that, COVID hit, and her outpatient plan was stopped, and I was going to Kansas City to see her a couple days a week and working with her. And then after that, when we realized how bad COVID really was, we were afraid she had too many caregivers. So she went back to her own home in the Lake of the Ozarks with no outpatient therapy. And so no one saw her at all for several weeks. And now she's in outpatient therapy, but during the time that I didn't see her or anyone else, she threw away her AFO, threw away her walker and her cane, and was just holding on to her husband, which was very upsetting to me because her gait pattern was terrible. But she was eventually able to start outpatient therapy there, and soon after I discovered the NewGait, and somehow I was fortunate enough to have Benga decide to give me a 30-day trial, even though I didn't work in a clinic or have that many opportunities to try it on someone. But I took it to my sister, and it made an incredible difference in her gait. The first time we put it on, her balance was better. Of course, her dorsiflexion and eversion was so much better. She could walk with no person and no device for, I think, I'm not sure how many feet, but we walked for about an hour. And that was, oh my goodness, I don't even know how far she'd been able to walk before, but it couldn't have been more than 10 minutes or so. And she was thrilled and wanted her own right then. And I waited until I went back one more time to make sure that it wasn't just a miracle, but it was still working. So I helped her pick out what components she needed, and she ordered her own. The next time I went down there, we took it with us to her outpatient therapist and showed her and her clinic. They were amazed, and I haven't been back there since, but I would certainly imagine they've started a 30-day trial by now, because they were amazed at what my sister could do with it on compared. I've also tried it on another sister that I have that has chronic SI pain for at least over 20 years, and she is a doctor herself. So, and we were just kind of playing with it. I just wanted her to walk in it to see if it changed her pain at all. And we made some adjustments and eventually took the hip flexor component off and found that it had tilted her pelvis posteriorly just enough. When she felt that, she goes, oh, that's where it's supposed to be. And for several days after that, she could still feel where to put her pelvis and control her pain. And she's walked in it a few times since then, and we've played with it a little bit, but now she doesn't really even, I think we did it 3 times, doesn't really even need it anymore because she knows where to put her pelvis. And I would say that she controls her pain 80% more than before she tried. I've also gone to a couple old patients. I tried it on the mother of a patient that had recovered so much she didn't really need the NewGait anymore, but we tried it on her mother with dementia that had peripheral neuropathy and a history of falls, poor balance, poor dorsiflexion, weakness, especially in her hips. And we just tried it for fun. She wasn't verbally really able to give me any feedback, but when she walked, her daughter described to me how I saw her walk before, but she could only walk a short distance, like into a store from the car, maybe 200 or 300 feet. When she had the NewGait on, she over 1,000 feet in her house with much improved gait and balance. And she even walked so far that she was starting to get short of breath, which she never, because she hadn't walked that far enough. So I'm excited. I've shown a group of PT friends, and I am excited to show many more.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing that story. Awesome. Everyone, are you feeling amazed? If you can please put in the comments amazed, or what's that crazy face with the eyes popping, and any of those, please do. Because it's just these stories, it's crazy. Like looking at this harness, I have to tell you guys, like looking at this harness, I'm like, really? But then you guys are coming on and finding all these use cases and transforming all these patients' lives. And what's crazy is like that it's so simple. It's so simple, and it's one device. And what I really love is that now it's also addressing pain. Because I don't know about you guys, but I mean, obviously we all know about this epidemic of the opioid epidemic, and I'm a big proponent of massage, stretching, muscle activation, but sometimes that's just tough, and I mean, you guys can probably relate. Who doesn't do their stretching? Whose patients never do their stretching, right? They never do. Actually, I have to admit, I got a couple amazing vets who do tell me that they do their stretching, but it's, you wonder if they're just trying to, cozy up to me. But now that it's also addressing pain, I think that's amazing, because then we can incorporate that, because so many of our patients have not only orthopedic problems or deficits, but there's these other subsequent things that are happening, such as pain, that are limiting mobility and limiting your endurance. And so thank you, Stephanie, for sharing that, because solving pain within in addition to musculoskeletal dysfunction is like, that's pretty cool. Kathy, go for it.
My specialty is people with pain. That's all I see, is people with chronic persistent pain. But when you look at how they move, which is what I spend a fair amount of time doing, especially since we've developed this new Gait, is that it's from many reasons. It's from the failed knee surgeries, from the failed back surgeries. It's from, I don't know, I fell once and it's never been right since. And so, or I had the surgery and now my foot doesn't work. I don't have any dorsiflexion. I can't push off. And so there's some other component of your body then that has to cover for that still has to move you. And when you put the device on people and suddenly you're able to get them to move with a more normalized gait pattern, then suddenly the musculature that was having to carry that load goes, oh, somebody's finally figured it out. And my pain is gone. I mean, my pain is gone. How does that go from 10 to 0 in 3 steps? You're just as arthritic as when you arrived 10 minutes ago, but there is something in the neural system that combines with the depositing some new message to your brain that suddenly your brain goes, wow, that pain is gone. And that was a really unexpected surprise with the device. Just blew our minds when we see that. But we've traveled the state of Michigan. We've put it on people wherever we go, and we get that same response. Oh my gosh, I've had this pain since this injury or accident happened. I don't have any pain right now. And in some people, the carryover is like it might be 10 minutes after they leave me and the pain is down. It might be 3 days. It might be a week. It's just some sort of a muscle reset. So imagine if you were a therapist and you had this device in your clinic in your hands, and you feel like you have this tool that could help so many more people. That is, Emma, why we are so appreciative to you and your colleagues here for letting us come forward to share what we have discovered, rather serendipitously, if you will. But it is a journey for us that we really want to share with others, so you can see, you can make your own determinations whether this is something that you're finding is very helpful for your people as well in the clinic. And you won't know until you try it on people. You just won't know. And sometimes it's the person that you think, oh my gosh, if this works, I'll just be so amazed. And then it does. And you are. And so that's what's so exciting about this. Every day, it's like opening a new present to see what's going to be inside. Each person comes with their mind and their beliefs and their body. And if you can transpose it in like 10 minutes, yeah, it takes several minutes to put on. Yeah, sometimes it takes a time to figure out what combination of bands they're going to be most comfortable in. And sometimes I try to judge that, like, oh, I think I'll put this, and this on you. And they'll go, yeah, I liked it better when we had it this way a moment ago. Or what if we tried a band here? And then you do it. And then it's like, well, that was it, So it is a very amazing tool. And all we can do is say, please consider giving it a try in your clinics. Please contact us. Please reach out to us, because it isn't just Kim and I now doing this, and Lynn, our other partner in this. It's Martin, it's Stephanie, and it's other therapists that are joining into this journey we're on with us to try to change lives in a way as therapists we've never had a tool to do that before.
I love that. And thank you for so succinctly putting about the pain, because I mean, I was trying to piece together in my head, why is it also addressing the pain? Like, how is it also addressing the pain?
So it's not a researcher. Call us. We want to know too. We want to know.
But it makes it, you're exactly right. It makes sense. It's like, duh, if we fix the alignment, if we start getting the muscles who haven't been working starting to work, all of a sudden that load is going to be relieved, and then there goes your pain. So it's so simple. It's so simple. Awesome. So
there's also another component to it, though, that I see is that these people have moved without energy for so long. And I mean, you have to think that those bands actually store energy within them. They stretch, and then they come back and they restore energy. So like I had a lady the other day who, she was the perfect person to try it because she had been very active. She'd been a runner before. She had now been within a year of having surgery after surgery and struggling and having no energy in her gait pattern. And as soon as we put it on her, she was one of those wow people because it restored her energy. Like she wanted to run out to the truck to show her husband because she now could walk without a cane, like immediately. Like it was that transformed, just transformed her whole day, and it restored her hope, which is so much of what we talk about at our meetings, is that so many people have got to a point where they just have no hope that they can move better ever again. And as soon as you show them something different, that it just sparks something within their brain that is like, like a runner's high, like sending out these endogenous opioids saying, like, look we can do it. And you just flick a different switch within them. And you can call it whatever you want to call it, a placebo or whatever else, but it's real for them. And because so many of us work in settings where we don't have a lot of technology and we don't have a million tools, I would really encourage the people in, this alternative healthcare thing, like this all came out of thinking outside of the box, like having a spinal cord patient in a rural setting where you didn't have anything to treat a spinal cord patient, to say, I see what she can do and I see where I want to get. Now, what can help me get there?
Yeah.
And so, that's what we all need to do every single day. And Stephanie, I love listening to your story. And you as a retired therapist, like you started practicing when you didn't have all these tools. Like you had to do that. And so, like, I'm really encouraging your listeners to say, wherever you're at, think outside of the box. Think about doing something a different way than you ever had before. And walk into work every day thinking, God's going to give me something different. He's going to give me a gift if I'm willing to listen for it. And this is like, that's what this came out of. Martin and I had so much fun working with his daughter and just watching who she was, and then thinking outside of the box together and problem solving together as we did that. And, Kath and I used to work in the same clinic, and like half of what's on the NewGait now came out of us being in the clinic going, wait, well, what if we created a loop? Or what if we created this? Like, it was initially very kind of simple only for the quad, but as we worked together and just kept, well, what if we did that? And so like bigger than the NewGait to say, if everybody did that, if everyone thought out of the side of the box every day and just dreamed, well, what could it look like? What do I have here that I could MacGyver to make that happen?
Yes.
And that's kind of where this came from. And that's where, like if we're going to make healthcare what healthcare could be as we move forward, then everybody would do that. And this team has been so darn fun to work with, because can you imagine, usually we have an idea, but then we have another 20 patients that come in. And so we got to kind of forget our idea. Well, that's where Jordan and Benga come in, because every idea we would have, they say, okay, let's do it. And then we kept meeting in these Zoom meetings, us in Michigan and them in California. And then Lynn, who's not here right now, who was you know, really good with O and P, like they'd all create it. And then we could just, they'd say, okay, so here, go try this in the clinic tomorrow. It's absolutely been the most fascinating journey I've ever taken in this world of physical therapy. And Stephanie, I don't think you and I are too different in age. And so it's so fun to have you on board of saying, yeah, I'm thinking outside the box. And it restores all your energy for what you do, right?
Well,
Yes.
I'm pumped on two fronts. Oh, go for it, Stephanie.
Now I want to do it again. Therapist that's looking that I mean, I know on some of your videos you've said it can look overwhelming, but all you need to do is put it on yourself and feel what it does, and then it's like, well, of course. Why didn't I think of this 20 years ago? It's just an amazing. I don't know if I would have gotten it if I hadn't put it on, but that was the first thing that I did. And because when I opened the box, it's like, oh gosh, I don't know if they should have given me this. But hour and I had it on. It was like, oh my gosh, I had a whole list of people that I wanted to take it to, because you can feel what it does.
I think just to piggyback on what Kim was saying, though, is part of the system lends itself to allow you to be creative. You know, you can move bands, you can move the loops, where again your anatomy comes back into play, where you're kind of going, you know what, let me just try this, and you get an immediate feedback. You know, I know people will say, well, sometimes it's hard to get on, or it takes time to do this. I was trained in putting on kinesio tape. So you think about all the time it takes to cut, to peel, prep the skin, you know what I'm saying? All of those things, right? So this is, you don't have to worry about. Once you get the system or the combination that you like, you just repeat it. And then you allow your body to just feel. And that's what is so exciting, because again, you see the light bulb go off for a patient where they're like, oh my gosh, I now know what you're talking about. You know, you've been asking me to do this for how long, and now all of a sudden I feel it, you know? And I think that's the joy as practitioners we all get in seeing someone discover that, and seeing that they can now do something that they thought they could not do.
Yeah. Thank you, Martin. I think what's coming, really strongly to me is your guys' passion for this device and the creativity. I mean, I would love to literally have another webinar where we go into like all the little like devices and how you came up with them, and that'd be so cool from like an entrepreneur. Selfishly, I'm like, oh, like, how did they think of these things? But I love the versatility of the harness. I think that's the biggest thing that's standing out to me in this conversation is the versatility, because you've thought of the whole chain. It's so versatile in literally addressing the pain, addressing the hip, addressing the knee, addressing the ankle, and therefore up the chain as well. And it's just, the use cases seem like it's almost endless. Am I wrong to sort of say that? I guess we can't say endless, but nearly endless.
Well, let me just say this, that in my family, it's a joke, because when I come home, when we were first starting to do this, and I say, oh, I tried it on this today, and I tried it on that today. And then one day my husband said, well, do you think it would fix an earache? Well, I'm not sure, but because it became such a family joke, like, wait, you used it for that? And then you had this kind of patient came in and you tried it on that. And one day my PTA said, what exactly did we do before we had the NewGait? Like what did we do? Because we've used it for so many different things. Because what you really start to understand is how somebody functionally moves and holds himself becomes so much part of what we do or what we should be looking at. I taught a course a couple weekends ago where I said, like, walking is a dance, and it's what we do. We spend so much of our time doing. And so if we do it with no symmetry and no energy, can you see the impact it could have on our lives? So I think that one of the things I find when we've been going out and traveling is that Gait is one of those things that people like, They don't spend enough time really looking at it. And I think that's why the NewGait a little bit scares them, because they're like, you know, I don't think I know Gait that well. Like, even when they document on it, they just talk about like, well, what assisted device did they use, or something very, very gross and general, versus specifically what aren't you really seeing? Because if you can't see it, then it's hard to fix it.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's really made me turn around and become much better at looking at somebody's gait and really understanding why it looks like it does, and why we should address it.
That's an excellent point. Yeah. I'm going to go work on my gait assessment now.
No, that's got a form for you, actually.
I do. I've seen that. You have very good gait explanations in your website. Yes, I do concur with that. And you do a great job of explaining the whole stance phase and all of that. So you're exactly right. Well, amazing. I really think this, like, there's so many endless use cases out there. And I just think, like, you all have done an amazing job. Are there any more takeaways? I know Benga and Jordan, I'm sorry, us therapists have sort of stolen the show from you. So do you want to share a little bit about the NewGait?
I mean, this show is for therapists. So, you know, we're just thrilled and wonderful to have these two wonderful therapists on our team, to have an amazing ambassador in Martin, and Stephanie, who has really just kind of come out of nowhere and has been just an amazing user so far of it. And so we're really thrilled to have all of you guys as a part of our NewGait community, if you will. Jordan, do you have any?
No, completely agree. And we just want to highlight for anyone out there listening, watching, that you can try the NewGait for free for 30 days. You can find a form to submit on our website, and we'll get it sent out to you, train you up how to use it, and you can change lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. And I want to shout out to Jordan and Benga, because just like what Kim said, you both are so amenable to what us as therapists are saying, and that's just like a breath of fresh air. Like, poor Benga, he had to take all of my suggestions and all of my crazy ideas and crazy comments, and he was just so great about accepting every single ideas, and that's really why I love working with you and Jordan so much, because you just are appreciative of our knowledge, and you respect our knowledge. And I think, you know, part of alternative healthcare careers is, I'm on a mission. My great co-host and friend Mike, Dr. Mike Chua, we're on a mission to sort of build a platform where therapists and healthcare professionals, we have greater voices than just being in the clinic. We are innovators, we are entrepreneurs, we are leaders, we are, you know, amazing practitioners, and we can do so many things. And I feel like part of the reason why we feel like we don't have a big voice is maybe because we don't have enough people saying, yes, you do have a big voice. And so our mission is sort of to share that. And you've been so amenable to all of these therapists and myself sharing our voice and really helping us, you know, feel like we can contribute more to society and we can make a great change. So I really appreciate you both as being amazing, you know, founders and developers for the NewGait.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate that. And yeah, if I could just kind of elaborate on that a little bit more. You know, Jordan and I, we're, like I mentioned earlier, we're track guys. And so the initial device was for speed development. It was for athletes. And what really turned us on to Rehab were really the patients and really the stories that we were hearing from Kim. I remember we were meeting with her every other week for a while we were still in the athletic product. And she was just telling us story after story of another patient she put it on. Every week it was someone new. And we were just like, what's going on? Like, we got this product for athletes. We need to get this on athletes. Meanwhile, Kim is over here putting it on you know, spinal cord injury patients, multiple sclerosis, all sorts of people. And then, you know, she's telling these stories, and they're really heartbreaking, or they're uplifting, excuse me. And so it was just amazing to hear how something that was developed for one purpose is being used in transforming lives in another. And our mission is really to restore hope to people. And what we've found throughout this journey is that the NewGait is restoring hope, and not just to the patients, but there's so many people that are affected, families, caregivers, the mothers, fathers, daughters, everyone within that family who's connected to that patient is affected. And we're really giving hope to not just the patient, but really the entire family. And so what we really, really take away from working in NewGait is just the hope that it's giving people, and seeing those lives that get touched and hearing those amazing stories. That's what is kind of keeping us going, and that's what fuels us. And so as everyone who's watching this webinar has heard, we've heard from 4 amazing clinicians who have told stories of how the NewGait has either impacted their patients or their sisters or their daughter. And the next person could be listening to this webinar right now. And so as Jordan mentioned, we have a free 30-day trial that's shown right here on the screen. And so we invite any clinician who's out there who wants to give this a try. Please don't feel that it's intimidating. Please give it a shot, because you never know. What's the harm? So,
Awesome.
Yeah, I think like when you see a patient who, and even think about the cost of it compared to most things. And I think one of the things, the voices that we all have who work in healthcare, I know you would all agree with this, is how expensive everything in therapy has become. And it just seems like so wrong, actually. So like when you can take what an AFO costs and you can turn around and for $50, you can turn around and do that same thing. And I had a guy recently tell me he stopped back in to see me at the clinic. He had gotten one for his dad downstate, and I kind of showed him how to use it because his dad wasn't going to be up here. And he said, honestly, that thing changed my dad's life. And he walked into an office, a doctor's office or something, or maybe a O&P person's office, and the guy said, "Hey, what is that thing on your leg?" And he says, "Oh, yeah, like this is this thing." And the guy looked at me and goes, "That thing ain't going to do nothing." And he says, "Yeah, well, it changed my life, buddy. And a Youper invented it." And he says, "And there's Youpers, they know their crap." And it's kind of a joke, is that like, we're from, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We couldn't possibly know anything because we live in the middle of nowhere. But his point was, and so when you say like, we want our voice, we do. We want a voice, and that voice wants to be is like, we can do healthcare better and less expensively. And the NewGait is a perfect example of that. So even this fight against, like, should we try to get reimbursement for it or not? What I've told these guys from the very beginning is, let's keep this thing so affordable that people don't have to go down that road, because we know what that road looks like. That looks like, trying to get L codes and the expense of doing that. And it's just this road all of us are tired of. So that's kind of one of my ways of having a voice with this thing, is saying, like, let's do healthcare less expensively and better. Mm-hmm. And they won't even need as many visits because they can buy this thing, and now they're getting therapy all day long at home. Like, life becomes therapeutic. So I love it. That's the way that we need to have a voice, and we're watching it happen, and it's so exciting.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming on. I think that I couldn't have said any of this better. Life becomes therapeutic. Kim, I agree 100%. Like, this can be literally something that your patient is going to wear for the rest of their life, that can change them for the rest of their life for just the amazing good. So for everyone out there below, you can go to newgait.com/clinical trial program. The newgait.com/clinical trial program. It's down below. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. Benga and Jordan, they're in the group to help you. If you're on YouTube, you can put it in the chat as well. or just simply reach out to them. Go to their website, thenewgait.com, and email them, send them a message. And they're great guys. Look at them. Look at them. Same with Kathy, Kim, Martin, Stephanie. We're here. We're approachable. We're therapists just like you. And we truly care about our patients and their recovery just like you. So any last words? Otherwise, I couldn't have said it any better. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. If you're watching, a round of applause. Thank you. Some hearts, emojis, some thumbs up emojis for everyone coming on. Really appreciate your time. And if you have any questions, let us know. And we will see you next Tuesday for another amazing alternative healthcare career show. Thank you, everyone.